All right, what's up, family? Let's do this video here on something you've heard all too often. You've been through it, you've known people that have been through it, and that is these 5 words right here. Taste of your own medicine. Sounds familiar? I know it do. How many times somebody has done or said a certain thing to you, and then when you do that same thing back to them, they don't like it, right? It's like you give them a taste of their own medicine, right? Speaking of that, I'm gonna give you a story I read a long time ago in one of my favorite books called The 48 Laws of Power. I love these little stories. They timeless, right? But anyway, this is how this story go. And it's dealing with taste of your own medicine. Look how egregious this story gonna sound. And as always, I love to give you a word of the day. That's going to be the word of the day, egregious. What does egregious mean? It means to tell or do something that's really bad. Something really bad, horrific, appalling, like, oh, I can't believe you. Egregious. So anyway, here go. This is how this story goes. Taste your own medicine. Way back in the days, one day this guy who had some fortune, before the actual money currency came out, right? So anyway, he had these gold bars, but he was about to go on a long journey and was going to be gone for a while. And in the meantime, he was like, wow, while I'm gone, who will watch over my fortune? So he did what he thought would be best. He went to what he thought was a good friend of his. And he asked his good friend, he said, hey, listen, I'm about to go on a journey. And in the meantime, I would like for you to hold a bunch of my bars. Actually, in the story, it says iron bars. But to make it more leveled up story, let's go with gold bars. But anyway, he said, while I'm gone, I would like for you to hold a bunch of my gold bars and keep them in safekeeping. This was a guy he thought he could trust. Right? We're all too familiar how that story go, right? I've known way too many people when they go to jail and they leave their money with their family members, with their girlfriend. When they gone, when they come back out of jail, hoping to get that money back, all of a sudden their girlfriend go, I spent it, I needed it. Their family member go, we went through a rough time, we needed that money. Well, look, you gotta pay my money back, right? We've heard of that, right? It's not a pleasant thing. But anyway, let's get back to the story. So he asked the guy, listen, I'm about to go on this long journey. Could you hold my gold bars while I'm gone? And the guy said, sure, man, sure, absolutely. So the guy, he went on his journey, and when he came back, never realizing the guy that held his fortune, this was the same guy that was in debt to a bunch of other people. What you think he's gonna do with the money? So anyway, when the guy came back off his journey, immediately he went to his friend and said, hey man, I'm gonna need my gold bars back, man. I need them back right away, this and that. And right away the guy told him, he said, oh man, a terrible accident happened. I had put your bars in a box and in my barn, right where my gold bars is at. That way they stay safe. But you won't believe it. A rat ate its way in the barn and it ate all the gold bars. I can't believe it. Now, hearing such a egregious excuse, instead of going off on the guy and all that, the guy just responded and said, really? Wow, that's really unfortunate. I must say, I have heard of rats doing things like that. Yes, I've heard that many times before. They love to eat gold bars and iron bars. I guess this is very unfortunate for me, but I understand. And right away, the other guy thought to himself, what a fool. I told this guy just some lame story, an egregious story, and he fell for it. He felt relieved now. But in return, the other guy said to me, he said, hey, well, listen, I'm having a really big dinner a couple of days from now. I would love it if you come over, man. I want you to come over to my dinner and we're gonna have this and this and that. And the guy said, oh, absolutely, I will be there. While going home, that man seen the other man, one of his sons in the middle of the street, kidnapped him, took him back to his place and locked him in the room where he couldn't get out. The next day, he went to that guy's house and said, hey, I just was in the area. I thought I'd check on you. How you doing? And the guy was like, look, man, I'm going through hell right now. My kid is lost. I don't know where he's at. I am so sorry if you don't see me in a jovial mood that I'm normally in. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my kid is. He was in a panic. So the other guy told him, he said, wow, that's unfortunate. But I will tell you, just the other day, I seen an owl. You know, the bird. He said, I seen an owl way up in the sky. And in its claws was a young boy. I know not if it was your son or not, but yet and still the bird was flying away with a young boy. About your son's age. And right away the guy said, how dare you tell me such a egregious, foolish story like that? My son is missing. And then the man admitted, he said, yeah, well, if that's such an egregious story, it sounds just as egregious as you said, rats ate my iron and gold bars. It can't be more egregious than that story you told me, could it? And upon hearing that, finally the guy's like, all right, I see what you're doing. Do you have my son? He said, well, I have your son just as much as you spent my gold and my iron bars. So, to make a long story short, the guy got money together and returned the guy iron and gold bars. And in returning his gold and iron bars, he returned his son. You see? He didn't like it because once he told him about his son with an owl, he was like, that's the most ridiculous story. But see, he said, no, that's no ridiculous than you said a rat ate up iron and gold bars. See, you didn't like it when I told you a ridiculous story about someone that you love or something that you love that has value to you. Now you lost that. You don't like it. But when you took it from me, you thought it was okay. And that's how a person is when we're talking about this topic, a taste of your own medicine. It's normally when somebody do something wrong and egregious to you, and they don't think what they did is wrong. But when you do that same thing back to them, they think you're wrong for doing that. Isn't that crazy?
Taste of your own medicine, doctor.
It's ridiculous. Watch this. I'm gonna give you another story. I remember way back in the days when I used to drive for Airborne Express. A lot of older cats know what that company is. It eventually got bought out by DHL. So when you see them yellow trucks, remember the original company is called Airborne Express. But anyway, instead of making this long, let me try to give you the short version. I had my own route, but this day they put me on a different route. And y'all know how that go. They say, oh, your route will be fine, but we need you to catch up on this route. Y'all know what that is. A lot of people that work, especially delivery companies, y'all know what that is. When they say that, they want you to help that route because it fell behind. They looking at your route, oh, somebody else will do it. But what they really know, that route gonna get screwed up, but you'll be back on it the next week and you could pick it back up. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Let's get to the point. They put me in another route next to this lazy, excuse-making guy named Chris. They had me with so much work and deliveries. It was no way I was, after lunchtime, normal workers after lunch, you probably have about 11, 12, 15 stops left. Man, I had like 60 stops left because it wasn't my area. I didn't know, you know how when you do an area that you don't know, you might go to the front of the building. They tell you, oh no, that delivery go to the back of the building. You might go to the back of the building. They say, oh no, that go to the other building. You don't know that if you're not the regular driver. And if you're doing airport deliveries, you better know that airport criteria, because you'll go to hangar 56. And when you get to hangar 56, what it says on the package, they go, oh no, that go to hangar 30. Yeah, we've been switched that years ago. You don't know that. You get what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let me get to my point. Anyway, after lunch, I had like 60 something stops left. Dispatch called me and told me, we need you to go over to such and such school, and Chris is going to come over there. He's going to take about 30 stops off for you. I was like, because they don't want me to get all this overtime. That's what it was. So I said, really? So I go, okay. So Chris going to take stops off. And they say, yeah, just be over there at 2 o'clock. Man, I was over there at 2 o'clock. No Chris. 2:05, I called him. No answer. 2:10, I called him again. He answered. He go, oh, yeah, man, I'm working my way over there now, but I got caught up in a lot of stuff. I said, but Chris, they called me and told me you were supposed to be here too. Yeah, but Joe, I got stuff I'm doing, man. I'll be there. Matter of fact, I tell you what, why don't you drive over to the Burger King? I'll meet you in the Burger King parking lot. I was like, what? I drove over there. Get over there to the Burger King parking lot. No Chris. I'm waiting and waiting. Next thing you know, I noticed, I said, oh, there's an auto parts store next door, and there was a car dealership next door. So I said, I got these deliveries here. While I'm waiting on him, I'm gonna go walk and do those deliveries. I did it, came back. All of a sudden, I see Chris just pulling in the parking lot. It was a half hour later. He said he's gonna be there in 10 minutes. Half hour later, he come pulling up. So now I'm walking back my vehicle. I go, yo, what's? He said, now hold on a second. He said, I gotta go to the bathroom. He goes into Burger King, comes out, 20 minutes later, with a big old juice and Slurpee and a big old bag eating. And I'm like, yo, man, we gotta get this stuff done. He said, no. Like I said, this is a long story. Let me try to make it short. To make a long story short, this joker took 10 stops off me when they told him to take 30. Then when dispatch knew I was still out there late working, they said, how many Chris took off? I said, 10. He was supposed to take 30. I said, listen, I'm not gonna be sitting here arguing with him. What you want us out here arguing and fighting? But anyway, it was a screwed up day. I was real messed up. Do you know he did that same thing to another driver? But guess what? You know what? Remember what I said, when you say, you know what? Okay, I'm about to get you now. Do you know it was like a year or something later? Chris calls me up. Now they had him working close to me. He called me up and go, yo, Joe, man, listen. Yo, they told me that you're supposed to meet up with me, man. You got to take like half my stops off of me because I got a doctor appointment. Man, this is important. Me and my wife got to go together. I got to go. So, man, you going to be there? I said, yeah, no problem. He said, yo, I'm going there right now. I said, all right, Chris, I'll tell you what. I'm not far, man. I'll be there. I said, I'm actually at a stop right now. I tell you what, I'll be there less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes came and went. He called my phone. I did just like him. I didn't answer. I continued my day. He called again. I didn't answer. He called again. I answered. Yo, Joe, man, listen, man, where you at, man? Man, you got to take these stops off me. I told you, man, I got a doctor appointment, man. It's important. I said, oh, yeah, no problem, man. I said, yo, I'm coming down the street right now, man. I'll see you in like the next couple of minutes. Guess what? 5 minutes later, he called me again. Joe, come on, man. Why are you doing this, man? I just got off the phone with my wife, man. The doctor's telling me I got to pay a fee if I don't show up. Come on, man. I said, hey, Chris, do you remember when you was BSing me around? He said, come on, man. I don't believe you're going to go there. I said, believe it. And I said, but look, I got stuff to do, man. I'll be there shortly. He said, come on, man. Please, man. Listen, man, if you want me to buy you lunch, you want me to buy you a family pack, I'll do it, man. I just got to make this appointment. I said, nah, but Chris, you see how I'm only doing exactly to you what you did to me and you've known for doing to people. I said, but you don't like it now, do you? He said, come on, man. I said, no, Chris, I'll be there shortly. He said, Joan, please. I'm begging you, man. Could you please, just, please, man, could you just get here, man? So sure enough, I pulled up. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll be there. I said, I'll tell you what, if you give me your word that you'll knock it off with that nonsense, next time they tell you gotta help me, I get real help, not excuses and BS. Because Chris was the type, anytime he break down or any type, he got to meet up with somebody, it was always at a restaurant. That was his thing. He always like, yeah, man, if I catch a flat tire, I catch it at a restaurant. I said, how you gonna catch a flat at a restaurant? He said, I don't care if I caught a flat, I will drive to a restaurant. He said, yo, if you ever break down, you're supposed to break down in a restaurant. That way you use the bathroom, get something to eat, and you relax. Don't break down on the highway, you can't get to nothing. See, he played these games. So I told him, I said, look, I tell you what, I'll be there if you assure me from now on you'll stop playing these games. He said, June, man, I gotta make this appointment. I said, all right, well, you ain't getting what I'm saying, man. You're not getting it. I said, see, a man's word means a lot. Like the old video did. A man's word means everything. Mm-hmm. It holds weight if you stand behind it. And I said, listen, if from now on you stop playing games anytime I need you, I'll give you the same respect or attention that you gave me. He said, Joe, I promise you, man. Please, man. Could you do me a favor? Please, man. Could you just make it over here, man? I got to make this appointment. I said, I'll tell you what. I'll be there in less than 2 minutes. I'm only around the corner. He said, what? This whole time you was Sure enough, while I'm talking to him, I'm literally pulling in the parking lot. He said, what? You was here the whole time? Man, I don't believe you, man. I said, yeah, but see, you don't like it. I'll give you a taste of your own medicine. You see? Oh, he was on fire, but me and him, we was real cool after all that. We was cool before that, but we was even more cool. When he used to see me at the job, he'd be like, boy, you something else. Boy, you got me that day. Yeah, I bet I did. You playing games.
There is actually a say where my 6th grade principal used to tell me, or tell everybody, treat each other as you wish to be treated.
Great thing. I remember you told me this story so many times.
I'll never forget that.
I remember you said you ran into her as an adult, and you was overjoyed when you seen her, right?
Yeah.
Because she made an impact on you.
Yeah, because if you want people to show respect to you, that's what you need to show them back.
Yeah, good point.
You know?
I'll give y'all one more story. And this one, I know for a fact a lot of y'all did this, or I hope you do, or do it. The ones that haven't, you got do it. Watch this. I remember my 2 little daughters was little babies, right? Now, they start crying, right? Now we done changed their pamper, we done fed them, we done burped them, we done gave them attention and everything, right? But what they want to do, they want to be picked up all the time, right? And I'm not going to be babying you all the time, right? So they start with all their crying stuff. And it's like, look, we done fed her, changed the pamper, washed her, burped her, and she's still crying. So know what I would do? Now I know they're just crying because they want what? Attention. So I would give them all the attention that they want. While they doing all that, guess what? I would lay down in the bed right there next to them, and I'll be, when they go, I'll go, when they go, I go, when they go, I go, and then they'll look at me and be like, and they couldn't even talk yet, but you could tell what they were saying in their mind. Why are you doing that? Yeah, you don't like it. Even a baby. See, I give you a taste of your own medicine. You're doing all this crying and yelling when we fed you, changed your pamper, burped you. You only want attention. So I'm going to give you the attention that you want. And I would sit there and cry with them the whole time. No lie. And you know, guess what? My wife didn't like when I used to do it in the beginning, but she got used to it. I would do it so much to the point now when I would do it to them, because I've done it so many times, they stop crying. Because they knew, man, they can't talk, but they was like, man, he be on some film. He don't be picking us up. That's how I got to them jokers. Like, you ain't gonna get to me, I'm gonna get to you. But one thing I'm definitely gonna do, I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, even a baby. Y'all can call me wrong or what, or the ones that know what I'm talking about, do that to your kid. I'm telling you, stop the nonsense. All right, y'all, peace.